My people, hey, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief,
And I'm Bell.
My name is Prentice.
and we getting the show on the road. Fellas, what's good? Feels like we haven't done this in a while. Probably because we haven't. Yeah.
Nah, but we just did this last week.
Did we? We did do it last week. We didn't put one out. We definitely recorded last week and didn't put one out. So we y'all people, we working, but we ain't working. So it's crazy because nevertheless, Bellhead, check in, man.
I'm good, man. I'm better. Like I said, I think the last episode, I think I had my moment of clarity. And now I was just putting that into action. Celebrated a birthday on Friday. So that was cool. Chief pulled up. A couple of the homies pulled up. Went to dinner. Brunch. Tried to go to this like bar/club after dinner. And it was like, you're not seeing it. So it was a nice spot too, but
it's crazy because it was a nice spot, but it just wasn't us. We was like, we can go home. We have more fun at the crib.
Yeah, which we did. I was telling stories and we was laughing. It was a good time. That's it, man. I'm just excited to show improve, man. Like that's all. Like in terms of my career and where I'm at and stuff. Just excited for the journey and excited to get the show on the road, in all aspects of life. Just I feel like sometimes our strong-willed mindset can work in two ways. It can will us through some shit, right? It can will us through tough times and adversity, and it can also keep us stuck, and as I said last week, I was experiencing being stuck by my own volition, I guess, if you will. My man posted something today, and I'm gonna share this, and then that'll be the end of my check-in. But he said, give me a second. There you go. He said, you can only be mad at what you can control. And that shit was deep. I'll say it again for the people in the back. You can only be mad at what you can control. And I was finding myself being mad and a victim about things that were beyond my control. So again, I'm in a clear headspace and I'm just looking to get the work done. That's where I'm at. Oh, and today's my wife's birthday. Shout out to Lo. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Lo. Word up. I'll go. I also was a part of the birthday celebration and shit was dope. We had a real good time. It was just good to get around the fellas and do what we do and laugh. And, it's crazy. Our dynamic is wild, yo. Our dynamic is wild. Oh. When the three of us get together, it's just like ping pong. That shit is just so cool. But that was really, really dope. Ate some amazing food at this restaurant. I don't remember what it was, but I had the swordfish, P. That shit was so good.
Swordfish?
That shit was so good. That shit was so good. And then got some time with my shorties. That was cool. Started my new gig today at the new site. It was what it was. I don't even think that like the switch. It's not the switch that I'm so mad about. It's more so how they did it, which is still weighing on me. I haven't really shook that yet, but
remember what I said. Remember what I just said.
Right.
You can only get mad at the things you can control.
I roll with the punches, so I'm good on that end. Outside of that, bro, I'm good. I don't got much going on. Nah, I think I'm good. P, talk to us, B.
All right. So last week I had the funeral. A couple of days ago. I'm trying to think how I word it. Y'all know what's going on, but publicly, I don't think I'm ready to really speak on it yet because one, it's not my business. I'm impacted, but it's not my business. Although publicly speaking on it could do some help, but I'm gonna be tactful and patient about how I'm feeling right now with what y'all know is on my brain that I'm being so vague about to all y'all listening. And I think I'm gonna be tactful and patient on speaking about my feelings, although I'm pretty aware, but because it's such an impactful moment. So I'm in a space where some more really heavy shit just popped off. And it's on my brain and I'm working my way through it. I'm working my way through it right now. So I've been scatterbrained the past couple of days because of it. But I feel like this is part of the process. So uh overall, I'm not really sure how I'm doing. Like, like I'm not really sure how I'm doing, man. That's the honest truth because I'll be out now and had to go do things and handle business. And somebody just, somebody casually go, "Oh, how are you?" And I want to answer honestly, but the answer that comes out is something that represents me, getting through it. So that's what tells me that I may not be doing as well as I would like to be doing. But I am doing okay though.
So
My next question is, what do you think my next question is, P?
Oh shit, man. When am I gonna sign the fuck up, man?
Bingo. Is that my teeth?
that was gonna be mine too. Like
Man.
Pete, we can only encourage you so much, bro. You have
Yeah,
to
I
want it.
know.
You have to want it for yourself, man.
Yeah.
I don't think
And
that's
Yeah,
lost
man.
upon him.
no,
I,
but
I,
I think
I,
I don't. Go ahead.
I personally believe, Prentice, this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
You're scared at what you're gonna find out.
You think so?
Think so? Because when I write the next treatment, the title is gonna be, "Are you the problem?" Because that's what I had to realize. Like that shit I just went through, and I'm not taking 100% blame, but there was a lot of it that was on me. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of it was on me, and it took me a very long time to get there. And I got there because I listened, and I talked about this before, but this Napoleon Hill clip. He said the three biggest things that hold people back is poverty, education, and superstition. He said people tend to focus on what they don't have and they stay there as opposed to what they want and what they're striving for. So doing that deep introspective work, what you're going to have to do if you go to therapy or when you go to therapy, dude, and this isn't just a Prentice thing. Like there's trauma there. There's trauma associated to having to talk about these things, man. And maybe you don't want to hear it, right? Maybe you don't want to relive it. Maybe you don't want to rehash it. Maybe I don't know, but that's the only thing that I could think of. There's some fear associated there.
Yeah. The only with you saying that, I don't feel that I'll have a problem with the accountability portion. It actually may be insightful to take accountability from the space of somebody outside of myself or
Objective,
somebody.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I do know that with the work I've been doing, it's a lot, man. I do know that just the realizations or the different train of thought that I use when I process, like reassess certain moments. Um, I don't know, man. I think in my head it's like I get right there to the edge, and then there's something that doesn't have me go, all right, fuck it. You've been on this podcast for 2 years, telling everybody who looks like you need to get into therapy. All right, this is it. And it doesn't happen. There's always a thought that either blocks the moment or so I don't know what the reason is. I don't.
P,
I
are
don't
you
know what the
aware of
reason
how
is.
this is showing up in your outside of you? Are you aware how this is translating? Does it transfer? How does it transfer? Because as much
What
as
I'm
you
going
feel
through
like you're
now?
just in general, you've been holding in a lot of shit over the past couple of months, years, or whatever, just holding it in and kind of processing through it on your own, little bit here and there on the podcast. But I'm not sure you're completely cognizant of how it's showing up in your real world and how it impacts the people around you.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure I am either. I know this has definitely with the last couple of days, but I don't think I do. I think I would probably think to myself that outside of some energy shifts that could be sensed, which I'm not saying is small. I don't know if I can necessarily identify the other ways that it's showing up.
If I may, I'd recommend just talking to the kids, maybe talking to Sarai and just going, what appears different? How does it, like, how am I showing up right now? And they can, because
Yeah, well, they're giving it to me more because like the last couple of days it's been like that. Like even this morning, night before she went to school, gave me an extra hug because she could pick up on it. I had to tell her in the bathroom last night, like, yo, okay, so I'm not telling your brothers, but I'll tell you. And I was like, I'm just processing some things because she senses things in me differently, and so she treats them differently when she picks up on them. So I feel more compelled to share things with her that I wouldn't necessarily share with her brothers. But yeah, I'm. It's a lot, man. This shit is a lot. This is a lot, bro.
no
And
doubt.
I'm not folding, and I'm learning about myself, but this is a lot right now, man. This shit is a lot, man.
It is, man, and that's what begs the question. It's like you got a lot going on,
Yeah, but it's
but
not
why
even.
haven't?
That's the fucked up thing, man. I don't mean to interrupt you, bro.
No, you
I
good,
got
bro.
a lot going on, but it's outside sourced. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but it's still impacting
It's
you.
it's still
no, it
internal.
is right, but that outside source is what makes it uh tricky for me because I'm not. Granted, I have to deal with the feelings, I have to process, but the fact that the source is not Prentice, you get what I'm saying, as far as the issues or the things that are coming my way, that makes it trickier for me.
But this might sound a little off or whatever, but that outside source is probably the most inside source you can have, if that makes sense. No,
No, I ain't get that.
like it's as much as it's an outside source, that shit is internal as fuck.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Prentice, let me ask you a question. When you drive, right, and you on the west, so I know it'll be traffic in the Bay, and it's traffic, right, and you trying to get to where you got to go by a certain time. What's your first thought, like when you in the traffic? No, I'm not. It's not a loaded question. Yeah.
Weave
What
around
is
the
my
niggas if you got skills.
What's your first thought? Like I'm in traffic. I got to get somewhere by a certain time. What do you try to do? Or you see traffic coming up. That's probably a better way to ask. You see traffic coming up. What do you do?
get on your phone and see if there's an alternative route that gets you where you need to go quicker?
Got you. So that's not a foreign practice for you.
To find another way around?
Ask for help to find a way to get to where you want to go quicker.
In the case of being in traffic, no.
But in general, that's a practice, right? Like you're not afraid to ask or
No,
seek help.
I wouldn't say that. Okay, I seek help. I seek help internally. So what I'll do is I'll wait until everybody's asleep, and then I get on YouTube and type in every fucking thing that I'm thinking about and watch shit for hours and listen, or find people who are talking about things to listen to. I do a lot of self-help.
And how's that working for you?
I can see progress. My honest answer, I can see progress. If the following question would be, could I get further with help? Absolutely. But
So
if you ask how it's
what's
working,
what's the next question after that? If that was a follow-up,
when I'm gonna do it?
why haven't you?
I don't got a concrete answer to the why, but I don't have a deep.
And I'm only pressing you like this because I care about you.
No,
Like,
I'm not taking it any other way. I'm not
Okay.
taking it any other way. So yeah, we're we're Gucci.
The only thing I'm saying, man, is what you're doing is equivalent to saying somebody telling you to go to the doctor and you responding, I'm gonna wait till I feel a little better, then I'm gonna go.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if I'm waiting to feel better. And I'm really giving it thought right now, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know
We
what it
might
is.
need to
Maybe it's
stage an
so
intervention,
easier.
Chief. We might
I
just
was
need
It's
yo,
to.
it's it's
I
so
was
easy to.
Bell.
You was gonna say
I'm not even gonna front, yo. Like, I was thinking the same shit. Like, we just gonna have to pull up on this nigga and just drag him. Like, yeah, we
like,
here.
all right, nigga, let's go.
Like, yeah, we here.
It's
Like,
it's to the
P,
point. Yeah,
we care about you. We love you, bro.
I know
And
this, nigga.
and I know I can do the best I can to sympathize and empathize with what you're going through. And I know how heavy it is. And it's a lot to unpack by yourself.
Yeah, that's probably the thing. I try to unpack it all by myself. I think that's the thing. I try to unpack it all by myself,
You know that's
and then
selfish, though, right?
uh I don't look at it that way.
That's fine, but you know it
Obviously,
is.
I,
Just think about it. Think about it, right? How many people depend on you, Prentice?
a total of 5.
5 people. And you're telling them 5 people that you got it figured out. But you don't. None of us do, right? So this is an apprentice thing. You don't. But yet you still keep trying to go. You keep going down the same path. And every time you try to figure out something that you just can't figure out on your own, right? Like we've been at it for a while and we haven't solved it. And not only that, there's always going to be something that comes up. Right? There's always going to be something come up. And what you're saying is, I'm going to figure this out essentially at the detriment to you all. Because you're not your best self right now.
Right.
No matter how you try to hide it and disguise it.
You're not your best self.
And I'm not good at, I'm not good at hiding emotions either. So
these people that depend on you are suffering because you won't go ask for help.
And that's why I said, are you aware of how it shows up? Because they may not say anything to you, but baby girl sees it all in her daddy's face, all in his neck.
Yeah, no, I know that.
In his eyes, she sees it. The boys probably see it, but they ain't gonna press you about that because,
I'll flip it another way. What if because of that, right, you figuring it on your own, they recognize you're figuring it out on your own, they don't come to you with their issues that you could easily resolve. So now they potentially find themselves in a messed up situation because they didn't want to burden you with more burdens because you're already taking on this whole big burden by yourself.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is what
great segue too.
That is where today's topic comes in generational trauma / curses that we may be applying and not even aware we're doing it, P. So right now, subconsciously, you're teaching your boys to process on their own and get through this shit on your own and still buck up and do what you got to do as a man and do this. So in your case, P, you have, situation A, you've processed and you've found a comfortable space for within yourself and are able to move forward within you, but you haven't really dealt with the issue. So you just put it in the pocket. So now something else happened. You put that in the pocket. The pocket the pocket gonna overflow in a minute, bro. And when that overflow comes, we don't know what that looks like.
Well, yeah, no, I think the other day made it one of them situations because now I kind of feel like I did some shit that wouldn't be done for me. You know what I'm saying?
I disagree.
Like I feel like I did what I should have did, but I feel like I did some shit that wouldn't be done for me. And I can't. Yeah, I guess I do try to unpack all this shit on my own all the time. And that probably is the problem.
So I can say
I can only get so far.
I can say that I disagree with your statement. I do feel like it would have been done for you, but I also feel like even if that's the case, it's a testament to who you are as a person, and you need to
I
stand firm in
know.
that.
Yeah, no, I own that. I
Okay.
own that. From off rip when I was calling you on my way over there. But yeah, I think the problem is I do try to unpack everything, man, on my own on it, and I go deep into it. And I think the problem is too, I try to dive into all this shit myself and unpack it to the point where I get lost in it. You know what I mean? So I don't have the training or the tools to detach. And that's what I've learned is my problem. So then I feel like I'm in this figure it the fuck out matrix, right? Where I'm totally invested in this world and all my problems are looking like them algorithms in the matrix, and I'm just I'm just pulling shit, but I don't know how to unplug now. So I have 24/7, 24/7, it's going. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going and I don't know how to unplug. And as much progress, you asked me how is it going, and I've seen some progress, but I mean, shit, I don't know who am I to determine how quickly it's supposed to go, how quickly you're supposed to get through it, but it damn sure feels like a slow process.
So I know the word is a stretch, and it sounds like a lot, and I don't really like the word because I just when I think of the word, it makes me think extreme. But
Hmm.
how do you feel? How does it make you feel to know that your kids could potentially be suffering because of you?
I mean, it's never gonna make okay. Uh, it does not make me feel like this is the right decision. So if my kids or my wife is going to be suffering as a result of what I'm doing right now, from that perspective, I can absolutely say that I'm willing to do something different. I don't look at things from that perspective when it comes to whatever it is that I'm dealing with or going through. I don't look at it from, well, every once in a while I may say, not necessarily how are they suffering, but you got to get this shit together so they don't have these experiences, or so that you can educate and navigate them through when they do have these experiences. But yeah, I gotta stop trying to deal with all this shit on my own, because now it's like I've been saying for a while, like it's not my direct doings over the past two 2 years, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like some things are, but the most impactful things have been indirectly impact me, and that's just tricky because I can't sit in a room with just myself and rectify it. You know what I'm saying? Because it involves other people.
But that's what you're teaching your boys, and you're
I
doing.
don't I don't agree with that though. I don't
But
I
they
don't
but they
agree.
but they're gonna think about, as kids, they learn from what they see.
Right, but when you're
As much
also
as you
teaching them to express themselves and to deal with their issues as a polar opposite to what your flaws are, I can't say that
okay,
I'm teaching them that. You get
I
what I'm saying?
respect
Because
that.
I know my shit, so I know I put in extra effort to like find time in these pockets to be like, yo, so when you have an issue with this, it's good to ask for help. It's good to do this. So I'm actually more of a hypocrite than anything. I tell them the
Okay.
right shit. I don't practice it.
So I'm gonna make this comment. We're gonna move on from you, Prentice, 'cause I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
we've been on you
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
minute. But
It's cool.
my I just said this to my boss actually last week. My coach used to say, I can't hear what you're saying because your actions speak so loudly. So just think about that, right?
Mhm.
Like you're operating from the premise of do as I say, not as I do. Our
Right.
our kids are not us, meaning that was okay for our parents to do, and we see how that worked out for us. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about generational trauma because of that premise. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like yeah, I mean, my generational trauma, I mean, or not trauma. What's the title? Not generational curses.
Generational
Excuse me.
curses, trauma,
Curses. Um,
ancestral trauma. We can call it what we want.
yeah, and I mean, ancestral trauma, that's a whole nother can of worms. But
I mean,
hell yeah, that's
but like my generational, well, I think the generational curse that I had was initial. I mean, there's a shit ton, but one that comes to mind, two. Um, college. I'm the first one in my family to graduate college, right? And that's a product of my parents doing the best that they could, but they just didn't have the tools to help me with that. I needed outside influence, resources to help me get to that place. And the other thing was I was a teen dad. My daughter's mother was a teen mom, obviously. My mom was a teen mom. My daughter's grandmother was a teen mom. And one thing for her, my daughter, was she's like, I'm going to break that curse. Like, I'm going to graduate college and I'm not going to have a child. My daughter actually may never have a child. Like, she's just so over kids. Like, she do not want no kids.
she's
So
so funny.
those are the things that really come to mind for me. And like I said, man, I'm sure there's literally countless. I know another thing that comes to mind is, and I talked about this on the show before, how I show affection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like my current household shows way more love and affection than I was raised in and subsequently raised my daughter in, because I'm married to a Puerto Rican woman and they're just overly affectionate people. You know what I'm saying? Like, her mom gives me a hug and a kiss every time I see her. Like, if I see my mom 10 times, I'll hug her twice, 3 times, max. I mean, that's max. And not because I don't want to. It's just, I don't come from a warm and fuzzy family. You know what I'm saying? So that's a generational curse. But my son, like, we'll just be doing something. He'll be like, Daddy, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Because he's getting it. He's receiving love different, and not good or bad, right? Just different than I received it. And again, my parents did great. Like, it's not a knock, but my mom's mom wasn't affectionate. In fact, she was mean as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, very loving, but mean. You know what I'm saying? And my grandfather, he was an entrepreneur. So that's where I got a lot of my hustle from. But he wasn't really overly affectionate. You know what I mean? So that's the generational curse, one of that I deal with. But and again, I'm sure there's so many more, man. But those are the ones that come to mind for me.
Brought you, Chief.
So there's a ton of different things that come to mind when I think of like generational curses. And I mean, just speaking on a very generic form, like people who grow up and end up living the exact same life as their parents, like maybe alcoholism, that can be a generational curse. You know what I'm saying? Or like seeing your dad work all the time, night and day, so you feel like that's what you have to do, and you do the same thing he did and miss out on most of your kids' childhood because you're working so much. You know what I'm saying? Or like even the whole, as far as we go, like the do as I say, not as I do type thing, and my way or the highway type parenting style where this is what it is and not really considering your kids' feelings. That's generational curse, it's trauma. You know what I'm saying? One of the things mentioned on when I was researching was like not teaching your kids life skills is like a part of generational trauma and curses and whatnot. As far as any that applies to me, I mean, there's just so many different things. Like I talked before about the whole marriage thing with not seeing any of my elders married. I mean, there's just so much. So I've in just in terms of like fatherhood, like I've saw that and I've tried to turn that curse, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like that generational curse stopped, I guess, with me. Be like, we not raising our kids and that type of stuff. So I just feel like it happens more often than we realize. And because we're not aware of this trauma that can extend from, Bell used to always say, it all goes back to slavery. Like it can literally go all the way back there. You know what I'm saying? And come to here. But I think a lot of people are still living within this generational trauma and curses and not even realize they're doing it. How does it show up in your world, B?
It's interesting, man. Listen to y'all talk about it. What comes to mind to me is like where I'm at as far as my parents go. I'm still, reassessing my whole childhood now. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking, listen to y'all, what if you don't feel like you know your parents that well? And then you really have no clue what generational curses you're dealing with.
But that could be a generational curse too.
What?
Not knowing your parents.
Not knowing. Like, so I've been in several situations where people have asked me questions like doctors, what about your dad? Does cancer run on your dad's side of him? Like, I don't know. I can't tell you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking more from a behavioral space. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think some things growing up you could perceive to be one way. When you get older, you look back, you're like, wait, that wasn't what I thought it was. So for me, the one I know I'm glad that I'm breaking is the congratulatory but. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom did that to me all the time. If I accomplish something, she'd be like,
you
"Good
mentioned
job."
that, yeah.
Before, yeah.
You remember that was the biggest thing. So I know I'm breaking that. I'd be like, "That's what's up." I don't be like, "But nothing," unless it's a C as a grade. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got a C. All right, well, we need to get that to a B and an A. You know what I mean? But I think in an unhealthy.
But devil's advocate. Do some situations warrant it? And
Absolutely.
You're not doing it because of the impact that it had on you.
I don't think so. I think I'm more on the era of the things that deserve the praise.
Yeah,
get the praise, and the things that where there's obvious improvement that needs to be done. You're at the age now where I'm letting you know, like, I'm proud of you. But this ain't none of my kids, with the exception of Shy, are at the age now where it's like, okay, you did something, well, and if there's room for it to be better, and it could and should be in certain circumstances, and I'm absolutely, dropping that in their head. It's just not the dominant response that they get from you. But that's something to pay attention to, though. What you said, because I think where it shows up with me is that I always had to do a lot of work. My mom's mom was mean as shit to me. I don't have a single happy thought about her. At her funeral, I was like, I couldn't cry. I was just like, I don't feel the same way about this woman. So I think about how my mom is. I think the one that shows up most is always having to do work. Always having to work, prove I kind of felt like I had to prove my worth and value through like labor. So I have a hard time delegating that to my kids.
What do you
to
mean?
The extent where my mom always made me work. Anytime my friends came over the house, you get a slice of pizza, but you're gonna have to paint this wall or pull up this carpet. I had to build a fireplace mantle when I was like 13 years old. So much shit, learning plumbing at 12, like all this stuff. I always had to do work. And I remember how it made me feel. Like I was always working. Now, granted, I can see the benefit of it now as an adult, where I can do anything. I can create, fix, build anything, literally. But in my children, I remember how it felt. So sometimes I have a hard time relieving myself of duties and tasks that I could give to my kids. One, could give. Two, they should be getting at this age as far as discipline and responsibility level. But it's my childhood experience that is getting in the way of me grooming them in a way that they need from a space of responsibility and discipline, because I'm always thinking about how I always had to do work when I was a kid.
You're overcompensating.
Yeah, I am overcompensating, man. So that's where I would say I think it definitely shows up.
Because I
the
think
largest for me.
There's a saying, impact over intent, right? Like, I don't know what your mom's intentions were by having you work that much, but the impact it had on you is you felt like you were always working. And maybe, if I'm hearing you correctly, that you didn't really get to enjoy your childhood as much
No,
as
I
you
got
would
to
want
enjoy
to.
it.
So you did.
No, I absolutely enjoy. I had a fucking ball in my childhood. However, I was the man of the house for real, and it was apparent and clear at a young age, and that shit sucked because I knew when I was in it that this wasn't my role.
So you could arguably give your kids that experience without that experience. They won't be the man or the woman of the house, right? But they can learn some of those trades that you learn that makes you better today. But you won't do it because of how your mom made you feel in the moment. Even though
Yeah, I
you
really got to work on that.
even though you are not your mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not your mom. So you given that same task will be delivered differently.
Right.
You know,
Good point.
so that's generational, right? So now you may not pass any of that down because of how that made you feel, right? And she probably came from the school of thought where it's like, no, you gotta have a trade. You gotta know how to take care of yourself. You have to be independent, right? Because I mean, shit, I would imagine your parents are around the same age as my parents, right? Like they grew up way harder than us,
Yeah,
right?
and my mom was a teenage mother too. My mother had a baby at 15. That she did not primarily raise, like my sister didn't grow up with us. So I know she didn't primarily raise her. So I think that could have altered how she dealt with me as well. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a lot, man. Yeah, this shit I can't figure this shit out on my own, man.
Prentice, like, man, end the goddamn episode, man. I'm
Nah,
tired of this
word.
shit.
So I was looking, trying to research this quote. I can't remember I can't remember the exact wording of it, but I think like the generational trauma carries over in years. And it says something like, it was something along the lines of like trying to save a person on fire by drowning them. And it's like, that's kind of what, how it transcends through generations. Like we have the same problem, think we can fix it, but we're just, adding on to it and making it worse in some cases. You dig what I'm saying? I couldn't find the quote, but I was trying to pull it up. So where does it stop, fellas? How do we one, identify, and then two, how do we stop these generational curses?
Another question is, do people even want to identify them? All right, think about it like this: like, if hypothetically, if you're a person who has disdain for your parents or parent, and you want to be nothing like them, right? You want to raise your kid the complete opposite, right? And you don't even want to identify, or because of that, you do the complete opposite, not knowing that those opposite actions can still have the same impact. But you won't know that because you won't even consider the idea, because your actions, right? Your intentions are different than what your parents did to you, which helped create that disdain. But your impact could be the same, right?
Yeah.
But your impact can be the same, even though it's an opposite action.
Yeah, because you're operating from the source of your own experience and not necessarily giving your child the platform to have their own, in a way. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you're
Because you're trying so
projecting.
hard to prevent them from having yours.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're projecting your insecurities onto your children.
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah.
happening.
That's very true. That's very, and you know what makes it weird? Like for me, I don't know why this is such a biggest one, man, but I think also what happened for me is that um I never wanted my kids to feel like they are just as responsible for our survival as I am. You know what I mean? Like I don't want them feeling like.
So watch this. So because of that, you overcompensate, right? And a unintended consequence of those actions is you may never teach them how to survive on their own.
Very good point.
Which is one of the things I mentioned about teaching your kids life skills and certain shit.
Like you are overcompensating, so they don't feel like they are responsible for you or the household or whatever. And as a result, you don't let them do anything. So they never learn, right? Which I would argue is probably more detrimental.
Absolutely.
I saw something the other day that referenced like parents not wanting to, or like our objective as parents not being solely to give our kids a life we didn't have, but to teach them things we weren't taught. And I think a lot of people get that kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like their kids ain't in the projects. They ain't doing, they ain't doing the things that we did as kids, but we're not teaching them things that we weren't taught.
Right. Because it's like, oh, I didn't have this, so my kid's always going to have everything they want.
Right.
But is that healthy? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that healthy to do that? I don't know. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just saying it's based on the individual. But again, you're projecting, right? You're assuming that your kids are in the same time period, the same mindset, all these things. Like, your kids may need the complete opposite of you, or may need exactly what you got, right? It will be done differently. But if the impact is the same, that's all. Like, you're back to where you started.
Right.
So I think ways that people can break these generational curses would be, first and foremost, just becoming self-aware of like the like the destructive patterns. Like, you have to be aware of these things so you can first address them. I think educating yourself on your family history is important. Like, go back, whether it be, online or talking to Big Mama, or, just getting the timeline from people and learning about certain things, which I think I'm going to have to do now. Cause I don't, like, again, when people ask, like the doctor asks, is it what runs in your family on my dad's side? I can't give you no answer about none of that stuff.
And Chief, you fortunate, man. You still got your grandmother around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not many people our age got their fucking grandparents around. So that's a blessing.
To your point, Bell, as I'm looking at the notes and what it says in ways to break generational curses, it talks about taking accountability for your own part, and I think that's huge. And it's saying, again, the next point, P, don't be afraid to reach out for help, and make certain that the curse stops with you is what they're doing it. And accepting that the generational curses are our responsibility to break. If we can take a combination of those things and put them together, it may help us all move in a better direction to prevent these curses from continuing throughout the lives of our family that we don't want to have happening. And it illustrates therapy as one of the primary sources to help break some of these things. So different types of role play you can do and so on and so forth to help talk about these challenges and put them on the table and get them a body. So just something to consider. Anything else on your spirits, guys, in regards to generational curses, Bell? How do we?
No, nothing on that. Quick fun fact though. When last time you guys checked the episode downloads?
It's been a minute for me.
Yeah. Me too.
So one are
Get it together.
I'm debating how much I want to share. That's why I'm pausing.
We could talk about it after if you want.
Yeah, it's really it's these numbers look good.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's definitely what's up. So I think we tapped into it well enough, and I mean we gave enough gems, I think, to kind of soak some stuff up and provoke some thought. P, final thought.
My final thoughts is I need a space where I'm not going to be judged for being quote unquote emotional or having feelings to where I can get this shit out and not have to worry about what I'm saying being perceived any type of way other than how I mean it. That's my final thought for some reason.
Okay, remind me to follow up on that when we get off. I'm gonna say it may look different for all people, and I know it felt like it may have felt like the finger was steadily pointed at you, P, but I think this is what love.
I'm good.
But I mean, some people might look at it like that. They on this cat heavy, but I think that's what love looks like, bro. Like the dudes like us holding each other accountable means a lot. And that's the essence of friendship and brotherhood.
Yeah, and accountability also, I think, I want everybody to understand that accountability also sounds like giving the people you care about something else to think about and consider. It's not necessarily having somebody having to say, "Oh, I'm wrong" or "you're right," but it's also giving them things to consider.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just thinking that was like if that was. I mean, I've been in it before on the podcast too, but it kind of you kind of feel like you're on a hot seat for them, and it's like, damn, all right, let's change the
No,
subject.
I felt like that before. I felt like that way more than now. I think I'm so. I don't know what I am, but I'm so something that I don't feel like that at all. I don't feel like that at all, man.
I mean, I think comfortable would be a good word. Like you know us, and you know the accountability is going to come, and we're not afraid to tell you like it is, and hope that you do do something about it. But like these cats are going to let me know, like this is and I think that's the essence of again the brotherhood.
Yeah, that's a good.
But I think people. So again, with my final thought, I think sometimes the picture of love or the essence of love looks a little different in some cases, and it may come in the form of tough love, but it's love nonetheless. You dig what I'm saying? And don't be afraid to challenge your people and to put some accountability on them, especially if it's in good intent. Go ahead.
Don't run from your past. Don't run from your past. You can only correct and or adjust to what you are aware of. That's my final thought.
I like it. Yo, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Bell just said, on the low, our numbers are looking good, which means a lot, and it's only because of you guys, because I don't think we even watch the episodes.
Damn show ain't us.
Right. Like we record them, so we've had these conversations, so we appreciate y'all. Per usual, man. Find us on all social media outlets, all of them at All Black Men Need Therapy. Email us at allblackmenneedtherapy@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And per usual, hug a black man today.
Hey, specifically black men. Hug another fucking black man. Do it.
And tomorrow.
And I'm not playing, really. Find a black man, and hug him, black man. Do it.
We out, y'all.
Peace.